to Down Your Unders. Down Your Unders. Review and dissection of content from some of the sharpest minds in the game. Hosted by Adam Camilleri. Art of War. Down Under.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 196 of the Art of War Down Under podcast, creeping up on that hallowed episode 200, where I will once again feel like a real boy. But we are joined back with the lovely Matt Morosoli to conclude our coverage and review of this crazy, spiky Chaos Space Marines Codex. Hello, mate. How you doing?
I'm doing really well, man. I've had a little bit of time to digest, between recordings. For once, we're not pretending that it's a week apart. We actually did record these several days apart.
Yeah.
And I've had some time to digest, man. I'm really feeling it. I'm really excited.
As you should be. I think this is one of the most exciting codexes that Chaos Space Marines have ever had, and it is just going to be a flood of iteration on iteration on iteration, and that's just in like single detachments have a multitude of iterations, and then you just go deeper and deeper and deeper. But for this review, we are of course going to be reviewing the other 4 detachments, starting from the Fellhammer, and then talking about another couple of data sheets of their viability, then going over to part 2 over on Patreon, Art of War Down Under. We're going to be writing a couple of lists, ranking these detachments based on our first impressions of where we think the power lies in the book, and then talking some smack about the units we think that are absolutely going to be insane above and beyond Warp Talons, because the internet has already caught on that Warp Talons are absolutely bonkers. And
no way, really? My secret
really
sauce already.
Oh wow, you mean that just reinventing a better, what was it, Taraxi sterilizers from last edition, where they used to come down, flame 2 things to death and go back into reserve, like virtually with the opportunity to interact with them at all. Do you imagine that being 40 attacks at strength 5 AP3 twin linked could be a problem? Who would have thought?
Yeah, Taraxi that actually kill things, you mean?
Yeah. Taraxi that actually like can scratch the paint on a 3-up save. But anyway, we're going to be starting this review over on page 94 for those following along at home. This is the Fellhammer Siege Host. The Iron Fortitude is the detachment rule. This is your Iron Warriors. Each time a ranged attack targets a Heretic Astartes unit from your army, excluding Damned, if the strength characteristic of the attack is greater than the toughness characteristic of that unit, subtract 1 from the wound roll. So this is pseudo-transhuman physiology for those who do it. It's transhuman light from last edition, which was a horrific problem last edition, and I wish the GW just didn't make it a thing. But how do you feel about this detachment rule? Because on paper, it's bonkers.
Yeah, this is really good. I think this is one of those things, I know we talked about a little bit last week about how this book is quite diverse and it's going to do a really good job of surviving different metas. I'm not sure how good it is right now, but
Same.
I can see plenty of worlds where this is really, really good. Like I can see a world where Imperial Knights come out and there's knights with claws and melters everywhere, and this just like it doubles, like going from winning from 2s to 3s, like you double the number of fails. I know it's like
Correct.
Mathematically it's always 16%, right? But like you're doubling the number of failed results, and that really matters, man. It matters a lot less on things like Land Raiders and stuff, because I love that they got a Land Raider pictured here with the detachment.
Yeah, I know.
It kind of doesn't do anything, but for Terminators, think about Chosen, right? Think about Chosen with Fabius File going to T6, then -1 to wound from the big guns. There's some sauce here. I like it.
I think this one is a overall level down from some of the better ones, but man, it can hit a skew that you are not ready for in so many metas. And exactly to your point, I think there is a meta that could be coming where this is just absolutely crazy. I mean, if Tau was like S tier, if I thought we had to meta for Tau, this would be a great place, because all their strength 7 or their strength 8 just like automatically gets knocked down a tier versus anything that's going to sit on an objective, man. It would feel really good.
Even breaches, right? Breaches are strength 6,
exactly.
aren't they? Like even stuff like that,
Yeah.
If Tau is strong, this would be great. But look, I think it's great. I don't think it's bad by any stretch. I just don't know if this is the right meta for it.
Yeah, same. And I do legitimately think Tau is strong, but I don't think that's strong enough to be meta defining, which is what I think would need to be the trigger point to switch over to the Fellhammer. Tell us about the firstly enhancements.
Yes, we've got the Bastion plates. This one goes on a Chaos Lord model, not a jump pack. So it's a Foot or Terminator Chaos Lord. And once battle round, when a saving throw has failed for the bearer, you can make the damage characteristic 0. It's okay. The Terminator Lord already halves incoming damage. Like, I don't know when I'd take this. I don't know how many points. We probably should have the points counter up.
We should definitely have the points up.
So we can check how many points it is and whether or not it's a good way to spend your sort of remaining couple of points, or if it's more
it is 10 points.
Yeah, so if you got 10 points spare, then sure. You got 10 points spare, this is totally fine.
While I'm at the points, I'm just going to read them all out. Iron Artifice is 10 points. Ironbound Enmity is 15, and Warp Tracer is 20.
Cool.
Yeah, cool indeed.
10 points, you take it if you had 10 points spare, right?
Yeah, exactly right. And I think it's actually more valuable on a Foot Lord, a non-Terminator Lord, because of course the half damage just kind of cuts the efficiency. Although you could wait until your last failed save on the half damage Lord and be like, lol, no. Which could be cute. Warp Tracer, which is the most expensive, I believe it's 20 points. Heretic Astartes model only in your shooting phase. After the bearer is shot, select one enemy unit hit by one or more of those attacks. To the end of the phase, that enemy unit cannot have the benefit of cover. This is quite cute and is one of the blanket options for damage increasing in this detachment. And I actually think it's not too bad. If you're taking this detachment, you are probably taking this. I'm just not sure what model and unit it goes on.
Yeah, this is good. It needs to be on something that's like a 24-inch range gun, really, to get any value. So it's probably a Terminator character, a Lord. Admittedly, man, this is really cute in the Terminator Sorcerer that gets the 2-up to increase AP by 1 on something. If you ever take the Terminator Sorcerer with this, it's kind of cute. It's okay.
There aren't any indirect guns on any characters. Like there's no Caria Draxus equivalent that shoots a little piddly shot from out of line of sight. Is there? Because that would be really sweet.
No, there aren't. So it's probably going on a Chaos Lord with a 24-inch bolter. Again, I think it's kind of cute in the Terminator Sorcerer with the extra AP debuff as well.
Yep, fair. What's the next one?
You got Ironbound Enmity. This is a Heretic Astartes model. Each time the bearer makes an attack while in range of an objective marker, add 1 to the wound roll.
It's only for the bearer, but it can be pretty sweet.
Yeah. When would I want this though? Like, +1 to wound. I guess if you're taking like Chaos Lords that are charging onto objectives, it's kind of cool.
Yep.
But yeah, again, I don't know. Like it's one of those things where I probably have this over the Bastion plate. This is the 15-pointer, right?
It is, yeah.
I'd probably have this over the Bastion plate, but I don't know where I'm getting super value for this. Like, I guess the Chaos Lord's hammer getting an extra extra point of wound is nice. It means you can go kill tanks and objectives a little bit better. Maybe that's sort of worth it.
Can you take a hammer on the jump pack Lord, or is it just a fist?
No, just a fist, man.
Yeah, so it would make the fist feel a lot better having +1 to wound. But you're right, it is a little awkward.
Yeah, I think this is good for cracking tanks. But again, I think your opponent also just kind of stands off objectives with their big stuff. Maybe that's what you want, or they stand off objectives if they're anywhere near this Chaos Lord, for example. But,
well, straight up, the next one is 5 points cheaper, and for cracking vehicles is just vastly better. It's for Heretic Astartes infantry model. The bearer's weapons have anti-vehicle 4+, and lo and behold, everyone sit down, get ready for this one. You're just gonna be rattled by how powerful it is. Anti-fortification 4+.
Whoa.
Just behold the power, the majesty of the artifice.
Does anything else in the game have that rule?
I don't know. Maybe the Iron Fists one that I've never looked at in the Space Marines Codex might have something similar. But the second part of that is a nothing burger. But a Dev Wounds on a 4+ with a Thunderhammer on a Chaos Lord feels pretty good.
Yeah, that's obviously what this is made for. This is made for a beefy Chaos Lord. Dev Wounds with Thunderhammer on a 4-up, very, very good. I approve. This is a great enhancement.
Yeah. As far as I can tell, Warp Tracer and Iron Artifice are the ones that probably start more often than not in your list. The other two, leave them on the shelf, I guess, unless you have exactly that many points left. Tell us about the first of the these stratagems.
Yeah, man. So we're going to go over to Persistent Assailants first. This is in the fight phase. 1 Heretic Astartes unit from your army that was selected as the target of 1 or more attacks this phase and hasn't fought yet. Until the end of the phase, each time model unit makes an attack, you can reroll the hit roll, and if you're below half strength, you can reroll the wound roll. Very, very good stratagem. Very similar to some of the other ones we've seen for other detachments, but it's just a straight up damage buff. It's straight, rerolls to hit. You have to be targeted first. So the Heretic Astartes unit from your area that was selected as a target of 1 or more attacks this phase and has not fought yet. So someone has to hit you first.
Yeah.
Then you get rerolls to hit. And if you're below half strength, you get rerolls to wounds. This is really good if you're getting charged. But it's obviously less good as an offensive strat. But it's also very good if you charge fight first thing. So it's a bit situational, but it's good. It's good.
Yeah, I think it's good. It is a battle tactic, so you can pop it for free on your Chaos Lords, which is quite nice. And yeah, when you want it, when you need it, I think it's really quite nice to have. Brutal Attrition is up next. It's 1 CP. It's in a fight phase also, just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. 1 Heretic Astartes unit from your army, excluding damned units that was selected by those attacks. To the end of the phase, each time a melee attack is allocated to you after the attacking unit has finished making its attacks, roll 1d6 to a maximum of 6d6 per attacking unit. For each 4+, the attacking unit suffers 1 mortal wound. For allocated your unit after the attacking unit, so roll 1d6 for each 4. So how many dice do you roll if it's just 1 unit attacking you? Is it just 1d6 or is
so
it?
It's for every melee attack. So it's for every attack that comes into your unit, you roll a dice.
It's not bad.
But it's max of 6 unit dice per unit. So if you have a unit of Terminators there, 5 things charge you get to roll the dice for every single unit.
Yes, but I mean it's only max of 66, so it's an average of 3 mortal wounds.
66 per unit, though.
Yeah. But you get hit by 100 attacks of Orc Boys, it's only rolling 66. If it's 1 unit of 20 guys.
This is incredibly situational. Yeah.
It's incredibly situational. You only would ever pull this if it's going to swing a combat. I think it's actually quite bad, to be honest. If it was up to 6 mortal wounds, for sure. So I mean, as in rolling 12 dice, and with capped at 6. The fact that it's like you're rolling 6 dice and it's averaging 3, I don't love it with the timing of this strat.
Yeah, I can see a few worlds where you have this, anvil brick of Terminators in your army that's kind of like standing on an objective with a beefy Chaos Lord and like 3 or 4 things charge you, but like. I don't know. How often is that really going to happen, right?
Yeah, exactly right.
Probably not too often.
And how often are the 1 CP for 3 mortals actually going to be impactful after you've already been whacked? I don't know. Yeah. All right. What's the next one?
We got Pitiless Cannonade. Is that right? These are some words, my man. These are.
You are correct. Pitiless Cannonade.
I don't know what that means, and I frankly don't care. This is used in your shooting phase. It's 1 Heretic Astartes unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot this phase. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack that targets a unit that is below half strength, a successful unmodified hit roll of 5 scores a crit. This is good. This is very good. The obvious place to use this here is like Terminators, right? They've got built-in rerolls to hit when they pack.
Yeah.
So you can get, like sustained 5s.
Yeah. But do they already have this doesn't do anything if that unit isn't below half strength. I wish it had a trigger for being below starting strength and then another trigger for below half strength. Because as it says right now, unless they're almost dead, this doesn't do anything. And then when they're almost dead, do you need the help?
This does help you kill like big vehicles though, right? Like if you're shooting a Land Raider, Riptide, that sort of thing, and you've got it half dead, this helps you kind of finish it off. So I don't hate that.
Yeah, you're actually right. And on Terminators, like lethal 5s re-rolling is kind of sick for just like a finishing a Rhino. Like you said, even like a Canis Rex-esque model that has like 10, like what? It'd have to have 8 wounds remaining. No, it would have to have 11 wounds remaining.
And you could also you can still split fire, right? If you have 2 things that are both below half strength, you can like take your big unit and split them between 2 different half strength units and kind of finish them off. So I don't hate it, but I also don't think it's great.
Yeah, me either. But when it comes up, it's a very powerful buff.
Yeah.
All right. This is my favorite one. 1 CP. It's a battle tactic called Point Blank Destruction. So plenty of battle tactics in here. It's in your shooting phase. 1 Heretic Astartes unit from your army that is within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units that has not been selected to shoot this phase. To the end of the phase, your unit's ranged weapons, excluding blast weapons, have the pistol ability. So if you ever get tied up in combat, you can just 1 CP shoot in with anything that isn't blast. Now, what are units that people might want to tie up that's good in this detachment? And the one that comes to mind is Obliterators. Tying up Obliterators with just 10 idiots is actually a pretty good way of tying them up because they don't have the attacks to kill 10 idiots. But
yeah, it'd be good if a Blitz was still 4-man units. I think it's much less valuable on a 2, especially when you're very likely to lose 1 guy if they charge a 2-man unit of a Blitz.
That's correct.
I don't hate it in Terminators again, man. I know we keep talking about Terminators. This kind of feels like the place where you'd put your brick of 10 Termies.
Yeah. Also Havocs. Dude, Havocs are the right toughness.
Havocs are good here, but what weapon would it be? I guess I guess it's like las cannons, but then you're shooting like 4 shots at something. Maybe Reaper chain cannons. It's not too bad on.
Yeah, I think Havocs feel really good. And like you said, Obliterate. If it was still 4-man Obliterators, they would love this. You can't stop me. Even like 20 Orc Boys just charging in, maybe killing 1 if they're lucky, and then you just because what do they got? They got their They have a gun that is not blast, but is like D6 plus nonsense amount of shots at like strength 5 -1.
Which gun are you talking about?
The good one. Obviously, the good one, right?
I don't know which gun you're talking about.
Well, it's all flesh metal guns. It's Warpale, which is sustained hits
right.
one,
Yeah.
sustained hits one already. D6 plus 3, not blast. 5-1-1.
That's not bad at all, for sure.
That is really sick for shooting into combat.
You can pack for lethal there and you get both, which is really nice.
Correct.
So,
yeah, correct. But like you said, it's only on 2 guys. Even on 3 guys, it'd be so much more viable.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't hate it, but again, I don't think you'd ever build for it, right?
No. I'm trying to look at the things you'd already consider taking in this detachment. What's the next one?
And it's steadfast determination, man. So this is probably the detachment defining stratagem, I think. This is your opponent's shooting phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. One Heretic Astartes unit from your army that was selected as a target for one or more of those attacks gains the 5+ feel no pain ability until the end of the phase.
Wow. Did I say wow? Yeah, 10 Terminators lap this up like crazy. -1 to wound, 4+ invuln, possibly 2 up armor saving cover, 5 up feel no pain. Ridiculous.
This is a very good stratagem.
Yeah, and you are correct. This is the defining strat. Thank God it's not battle tactics, so you can pop it off twice.
Oh, yeah. Look,
God.
It'd be hard to find 2 good places to use it, right? You'd have to have some pretty chunky units to make use of it twice. But yeah, it's very, very good.
Exactly. And you are right. That is the best in this detachment by far. Siegecraft is the last one. It's 1 CP. This one is also very good. The start of your opponent's charge phase. 1 Heretic Astartes unit from your army. To the end of the phase, each time an enemy unit selects you as the target of a charge, subtract 2 from the charge roll. Not cumulative with any other next to charge. But this is extremely good and extremely powerful for keeping your backline safe. And it doesn't say infantry, it doesn't say bikes, doesn't say anything. It's any Heretic Astartes
doesn't exclude Cultists either. Doesn't exclude Dan.
Exactly right. So you got 25 idiots, screening the front of your army. You can just be -2 to charge. It sounds pretty sick.
Yeah, this is very, very good.
Very good.
Again, it's one of those ones that probably makes the detachment interesting to play. I really like it. I think it's very good.
Yep. What do you think of the detachment as a whole? How do you rate it?
Yeah, I think what I said at the start sort of stands, right? I think the rules are all good, but I'm not sure this is the right meta for it. I'm thinking even if we look back to like when Necrons were really dominant, this would have felt really, really good in that meta. Wraiths being strength 6 and the feel no pain helps you sort of have units that are equally as tanky as Wraiths. I feel like it would have been much better timing for it then. I'm not sure how it's going to go now. I do think it's good, though. I think that even if it's not good now, it is something that will be good in 3 months, 6 months, at some point in the future, right?
I feel like we're moving a little bit more into a trading war game rather than just a durability check, which is where we were. This would have been like amazing 3 months ago. Like you said, just brawling in the middle with Wraiths, this would have felt so good. All right, going on to the Pack-Bound Zealots. Now, this is essentially the index detachment. So I'm just going to leave it to my man Matt to TLDR what, if anything, has changed here. Otherwise, you can go back and check out our CSM index review.
Ooh, who did that one?
I don't know. Some mad lad.
I don't think it was me, actually.
I actually don't think it was you.
I did demons, and we were excited for all of one day until we saw and put them back in their box. All right, so Pack-Bound Zealots, we've got the Mark of Chaos is the detachment rule. This is essentially the exact same as the index. So you give each unit in your army Khorne, Zench, Nurgle, Slanesh, or Undivided. Khorne get lethal 5s in melee. Zench get lethal 5s in shooting. Nurgle gets sustained 5s in ranged, and Slanesh gets sustained 5s in combat. Chaos Undivided both get reroll hits of 1s when you packed for either of those things. Pretty much the exact same mechanically as it was in the index. It's just that you mark stuff and you get more buffs based on what marks your unit has. So this is pretty generically good. Obviously, we saw the power of Chosen, Forge Fiends, a Blitz, Terminators at various points in time up until now. So we all know it's kind of good. I'm not sure that this is particularly appealing to me. I don't know how much I want to play it because I feel like I've already played this a bunch. But I actually think it's still one of the best attachments in the book.
I 100% agree. I straight up agree. And GW has shown us time and time again so far with the detachment that they've given us in the indexes that they have shaped up to be a medium or better than mid detachment when the Codex is coming out. And this is actually no different. We actually had Brian Seep on for the Orc review in part 2. He was pretty much getting up on a soapbox and saying the index detachment still holds up for the orcs, especially with the datasheet changes to boys and stuff like that. And this is no different. This is a perfectly serviceable all-comers detachment, which will still function really well on the table. All right, Chaos Cult. This is your rabble. And their detachment rule is Desperate Devotion. Each time a damned unit from your army with the Dark Pact...
Adam, are we skipping over everything in the Pack-Bound Zealots?
Did I? Did what? No. What do we need to talk about? I thought we've already talked about all of it.
There is one change.
Okay.
There is one change from the entire detachment, with the exception of the miasma change where it's printed as 18 inches for the untargetable thing. They've gotten rid of the 2 CP Armor of Contempt, and they have replaced it with Eye of the Gods. So this strat, you pick a character from your army that has just destroyed an enemy unit, and for the rest of the battle, that guy gets +1 to their move, toughness, wounds, and then the attack, strength, and damage of their melee weapons.
That's legit.
Yeah. It stacks. You can do it as many times as you like. It is obviously once per turn or once per fight phase, but
yeah,
that's the only change. But there is one change.
Yeah. Good. Thanks for pointing that out. I wasn't even aware that it had changed. I glossed over my eyes glazed over and I skimmed straight through it. Yep. I'd forgotten skin shift was a thing, to be honest.
Yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it?
I forgot. It's pretty good. I don't remember it ever having, been used versus me, because every CSM player literally saved every single one of their command points for interrupt, profane zeal, festering miasma. So that was literally the only ones that mattered back then. But that Eye of the God strat is legit. If someone puts out like their Infiltrator Librarian to stop deep strikes with a unit of infiltrators, and you just gobble it up turn one with any character, you will just pop off and it will feel really nice. All right, back where I was. Chaos Cults, Desperate Devotion. Each time a damned unit from your army with the Dark Pack ability is selected to make a normal or advanced move or declare a charge, excluding units that arrive from reserve this turn, it can make a Desperate Pact, see below. If it does until the end of the phase, add 2 to the move characteristic of models in that unit and add 2 to the charge rolls made for that unit. Desperate Pact, each time you make a Desperate Pact, it's exactly the same, I believe. They make a leadership test. If the test is failed, it suffers D3 mortal wounds, and then the pact is resolved. And in this one, Traitor Guardsmen become battle line for your army. Is this a good ability?
No.
Yes,
no, it's not.
That's correct.
It would be perhaps maybe passable if it worked out a reserve. But the fact that it doesn't just takes away any real desire I have to play this. Ripping 7-inch charges from reserve with cheap units feels interesting.
Yeah, it does. Legitimately, they didn't need to put that. That wouldn't have been game breaking to have that ability in. It's still a 7. It's still not a crazy reliable thing to be doing from reserve. But the idea of a unit of a cursed cultist walking on and then just trying to mob you from the flanks and stuff does sound very rabble-esque and would have been just fine. As it stands right now, this is a bit rough. Plus the fact that these guys can these guys still do a Dark Pact?
Yep, they can.
Yeah, they can, right? So there's the ability to just kill 6 of yourself every turn. Because your leadership ain't that good. I think of this this army plays against the Dread Talons, and the entire ability is dead. They're just going to keep punching themselves to death every time they try and pact, because they're going to be like leadership 9. All right. Cultist Brand is the first of the enhancements. Dark Apostle of damned model only. If every other model in the bearer's unit, excluding Dark Disciples, is damned, you can reroll advance and charge rolls made for the bearer's unit. Legitimately, pretty damn good. With +2 to move and +2 to charge, you can really, really, really get in the way and start tapping everything in your opponent's army. Chaos Cults. So this one was, I can't remember the name of it. I'm just going to go through them all.
Cultist Brand.
It is 20 points. Amulet of Tainted Vigor is 20 points. Incendiary Goad is 15, and Warped Foresight is 10 points.
There you go. The cheap one's good. That's something.
There you go. What's the next one?
The Amulet of Tainted Vigor. So this is a Dark Apostle model in your command phase. You can return D3 damned models, excluding characters, to the bearer's unit. It's okay.
Yeah, totally fine.
Yeah,
if you're doing this, you're probably taking it, right?
Yeah, the changes to objective control mean you can't steal objectives in the command phase anymore, so this makes this whole thing a whole lot worse.
Actually, would you mind explaining that to people? Because that is a relatively new change for the community that a lot of people have not picked up on.
Yeah, so the way that objective control is now, now calculated, is you only control objectives at the end of phases. So at the end of your opponent's, let's say their fight phase, whatever you determine objective control, at the start of your command phase, you can heal some models, but you don't determine objective control until the end. So you actually don't control the objective when you create that. It's a little bit unfortunate for all of the res models stuff, but yeah, that's kind of how it works. So that used to work, and now it does not. It's a bit annoying.
It is a bit annoying. Next up is Incendiary Goad, Dark Apostle or Damned model only. While the bearer's unit is below its starting strength, add 1 to the strength characteristic of melee weapons equipped by damned models in that unit. And while the unit is below half strength, add 1 to the attacks characteristic of those weapons as well. Naturally, this is only going to be like only accursed cultists have any kind of melee worth even discussing, right?
Yeah, that's correct, man. This is pretty okay on an accursed cultist unit.
Yeah, I mean, because you can get all the idiots killed and then just have a bunch of torments that pop off, right?
Yeah, but even then, like the torments obviously love that. The strength doesn't really matter. Like strength 7 is not a great breakpoint. It's actually better for the small dudes.
It is.
Strength 5 is a breakpoint that matters sometimes. Like obviously, +1 attack is great too, but at +1 attack, you don't have many dudes left, so it's just okay.
Yeah, agreed. What's the last one?
But Warped Foresights. This is for a Dark Apostle or Damned model. You have the Scout Rule 6 ability. This is terrible, Adam, because it is a Dark Apostle or Damned model. So the unit does not have Scout.
That's correct. It's for the model only. This is terrible. It doesn't say the bearer's unit. It says the bearer. I don't know how or why or what is going to occur to make this viable because I am not seeing it.
If you have a look at the exact same thing printed in Renegade Raiders, it does say the bearer's unit.
The bearer's unit. I do not know why they thought this was applicable because right now that does absolutely nothing. I'm going to get my Dark Apostle kill turn 1 is what it reads to me. So as far as I can tell, resing D3 models is kind of the best one because it's the only one that guarantees value. Like the others, like you have to be wanting to charge things. I mean, rerolling advances is fine for Cultist Brand. The goad is, my stuff has to get killed and has to be alive after people have tried to kill it. And with damned models, and forgive me if I'm wrong, accursed cultists aren't 20s anymore. Are they still max size? Or
they're 16. You can have 16.
Oh, cool. Okay. Then, that one actually is quite good then because that unit is going to be getting killed and rezzing and all sorts of stuff. But then...
I actually think it's better in a small unit though, right? Like I actually think it's better off in like a little 8-man with an Apostle that just goes and sits on an objective and is a little bit harder to kill than it should be.
That's fair. But I was actually considering that unit to be the one you stuck the D3 reses on. And now it works similar to what it used to.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but actually both of them might just be on 10s on Accursed Cultist. But all right, first of these stratagems.
All right, well, you got Chosen for Glory. So in your shooting or fight phase here, 1 damned model from your army that has not been selected to shoot or fight yet, you can make a Desperate Pact. If you do, until the end of the phase, each model in your unit makes an attack, you can reroll the hit roll, and if you do not fail the leadership test when making the Desperate Pact, you can reroll the wound roll as well. That's pretty good.
It's sick. Yeah. It's a battle tactic.
Yep. As long as you pass the test. Yeah.
Well, if you don't pass the test, you still rerolls to hit. Yeah.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. So it's okay either way. And for 1 CP, you're happy with it. So straight up, this is an army comprised of the worst data sheets in this ability in this book. And the Helldrake exists in this book too. So it's still comprised of some of the worst data sheets in this book. So it needs to have bangers like this to like make it shine. And off to a good start.
Adam, in any trace and respect, the Cultist is not a bad data sheet. The Cultists are an excellent data sheet. They're just not a good data sheet if you want to do damage.
It's not a good data sheet to Control C, Control V, and build your entire army around. Is what I'm saying. Yeah, because just much like the Crute detachment, you gotta if you're gonna build around cheap nonsense, you gotta have powerhouse stuff to buffs to lay upon them. Selfless Demise is up next. Is 1 CP. It's in the fight phase just after an enemy has selected its targets. 1 damned unit from your army that was selected until the attacking unit has resolved all of its attacks. Each time a model in your unit is destroyed, roll a d6. On a 6, the attacking model suffers 1 mortal wound after all its attacks have been resolved. So you need to have 18 guys in your unit that are all going to die for you to pop off and do an average of 3 mortal wounds.
Yeah, this is bad.
It's very bad. Horrific.
It should have been on like a 4 up to a max of 6, I think.
Correct. Absolutely correct. This is the wrong T's and C's for this kind of ability. It's actually really bad for what it is. And the fact that it doesn't have like a kicker or a rider that says like if you're cultist, it goes off on a 3+ or a 4+ or some crap or something to make it another aspect to it. It's a terrible stratagem, and I'm sorry to say that. What's the next one?
Not a fan, man. We've got Infernal Sacrifice. This is in the fight phase. One damned unit from your army that has not been selected to fight this phase yet. Make a Desperate Pact. If it does, you suffer D3 mortal wounds in addition to any suffered from failing the test. Nice. So you're now taking a normal test, a Desperate Pact, and then you're taking D3 mortals no matter what. Until the end of the phase, add one to the attack's characteristic of melee weapons equipped by models in your units, and if you do not fail the pact, improve the strength by 1 as well. So this is not good, right? It's not good in the fact that there's the opportunity that you're going to do 9 mortals to yourself.
Correct.
However, it kind of slaps in a bigger Curse Cultist unit with the relic for +1 attack already as well.
It really does. You can kill yourself down and then get the attacks back that you've just lost by punching yourself. Yep. So it is kind of cute. Or you could just not punch yourself and have the same amount of attacks as you always had.
Yeah. Look, there's no denying that unit of a Curse Cultist will slap. The unit with +2 attacks, +2 strength will beat the crap out of some stuff. That'll obviously be your go turn with +1 to hit wound, advance and charge. Sorry, like in your go turn, this unit is going to absolutely pop off. Mm-hmm. I'm just not sure it's enough.
I just hate the fact that, like you said, you can possibly do 9 mortals to yourself, and so maybe you thought you were going to flip an objective, and then you don't, because you don't have the spread anymore. You've had to kill so many of your own dudes. You don't have the OC anymore. You got to take a battle shock in your next turn, and maybe not hold primary because you killed too many of your own dudes. There's a lot of ways in which this can come back to bite you, but I do agree. On the go turn, this thing can absolutely take you to the moon. Crazed Focus is up next. Another battle tactic. This is the 3rd battle tactic so far. It's in your shooting phase, 1 CP. 1 damned unit from your army that hasn't shot yet. Your unit can make a Desperate Pact. If it does, until the end of the phase, each time model in your unit makes an attack, improve the arm penetration characteristic of that attack by 1. And if your unit did not fail the leadership test, add 1 to the strength characteristic of those attacks also. So you could have cultists shooting at strength 4 AP 1. You could have guardsmen shooting, relatively better especially with some special weapons. I don't hate this for 1 CP, as in like I want my unit to look like it's going to try and do something, or just clearing 5 scouts on an objective before you're going to charge them anyway, and making sure you soften them up enough to get through those wounds.
Yeah, I think this is okay. I think this is definitely, this is a bit of bread and butter, right? You're going to use this a lot. Yeah. You have big cultist units for shooting, like 20 cultists in outflank that walk on and rapid fire into something. This is pretty good.
Yeah,
I don't hate it at all.
Don't hate it at all. Next one. This one is needed.
Yeah, Reckless Haste here. So this is your charge phase, 1 damned unit from your army, and you get advance and charge. Very, very good. This is pretty bread and butter as well, right? This is just go and jam my stuff into you. It means you can have some Accursed Cultist units that don't have characters for the advance and charge. Obviously, you love the Dark Communes buffs for the cultists, but you don't have to have them on all of them because you get advance and charge from here. So this is good. Helps the army out a lot.
I love it. And you got +2 move, +2 charge from your detachment ability. So you can really close some doors. Last one is Mortal Thralls. It is a 1 CP strat. It's in your opponent's shooting phase just after an enemy has selected its targets. 1 Heretic Astartes unit from your army that was selected as the target of those attacks, and 1 friendly damned unit within 3 of your unit and visible to both your unit and the attacking unit. So you kind of got to be screening one with the other. Until the end of the phase, while your damned unit is on the battlefield, each time your opponent would make a wound roll for an attack that targets your Heretic Astartes unit. If your damned unit is visible to the attacking model and is eligible target to that attack, no roll is made. Instead, your damned unit suffers a number of mortal wounds equal to the damage characteristic of that attack. This is very hard on the T's and C's. Could be clutch. Not sure if it's going to come up.
Yeah, so when would I use this, right? I'm just trying to think of when I would use this. My issue with it is like say I've got a Forge Fiend or a Predator or something, and they're shooting some blast cannons at me, and I'm like, okay, they roll a 6 in their damage because I don't roll the wounds. They just roll the hit, and they probably hit with the las cannons pretty often. Like say 3 las cannons out of let's say 4 hit me from another Predator, right? And they roll their damage. It's pretty likely just to kill my whole cultist unit.
Correct. Because they're taking D6 +1 mortal wounds for each last
cannon. D6 +1 on every single one.
Every single one.
Why would I want that?
And legitimately, it's not if you just got 10 cultists screening like a unit of possessed with an apostle or something, I'm going to kill both. All you're doing is getting another unit killed. because it's
you don't even have to roll to wound.
dude. There's no failure points. It's just like free damage. This is the most mortal wounds you can do to your opponent in the game is by them trying to protect a unit.
Yeah, I think if they rolled to wound, it'd be a lot better, right? Like obviously, if they let you take saves or something first, and then just get dumb, it'd be too good.
It would be,
but like, good. Man, at least make me roll to wound first. I think this is not very good. I don't like this at all.
I don't love it. I mean, can you get a feel no pain? Like, what's the best feel no pain you can get? Because if you can put a feel no pain on the squad, at least then you get some kind of interplay. You can block the models, so to speak. But I think the best you can get is a 6-up, right, on a Cursed Cultist.
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah, so you're just going to get that whole unit killed as well. Like you can use the predator you're possibly protecting to kill the thing you actually wanted to kill in the first place by tricking them into using mortal thralls. Like, it actually sounds. I mean,
the only way I think this is good is if you like set up to screen with cultists, like a big cultist unit, and then you use this to kill your cultist model, so your opponent not only can't charge the cultist but can't charge anything.
That's true. You can set traps with it, right?
But then I think you just don't shoot. They use the strat and you stop shooting them.
Yeah, you do. You're just like, no, we're done. Made you spend a CP, good enough. Kill the cultists. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, this is there is a lot of interplay with this. I'm sure there's more proactive things you can do with it than we're thinking of right now. I mean, the fact that you have to be within 3, they have to be within 3 of each other sucks as well. Like, yeah, the T's and C's are wrong. Like, if it was 6 or 12, it could really unlimber a lot of different play styles. But the fact that the 2 units have to be glued together.
That doesn't matter too much, though, right? Because you can string out a unit of cultists a long way, and as soon as you start killing models, you can just kill yourself out of coherency, knowing that you're either going to kill them with the rest of this, like this strat resolving, or you're going to kill them with coherency. It doesn't really matter either way, right?
That's true.
But that's true. Man, I just don't know when I'd want to use this. Like, why am I paying a CP? I played a game the other week where I heroically intervened and I rolled a 3-inch charge where I really needed like a 5 or a 6, and I basically just paid 2 CP to kill one of my units. This feels like I'm paying a CP to kill a unit. It feels not good.
It feels not good. And that is the end of the Chaos Cult detachment. Some cool stuff here. I think this is just the Manny Chima min-maxed Cursed Cultists. I'm seeing it as being. I wish it had a Cursed Cultist become battle line in this detachment rather than in Trader Guardsmen. Haven't really unpacked how good Trader Guardsmen are, but have you had a look, mate?
No, they're about the same as they were before. I don't think they're significantly better. They're okay. Again, this is probably still a detachment where you would want, I would say, maximum cultists. Like, maximum cultists feels like the best way to play this with 3 units for Cursed. But I don't think it's particularly strong. I think the cultist units will be better served in other detachments, personally.
Well, I think the Decepticons, the Alpha Legion detachment, just makes cultist lists way better than this.
100%, man.
Way better. All right, we have one more detachment, and then we are all done with these detachments. Soulforged War Pack. Now, this one is getting Warp Pack rather. This is getting a lot of attention online, and you and I we're a little bit more on the doubting side than others, but it's undeniable the power is there as far as making a Chaos Ironstorm from Marines is an option. Debt to the Soulforge is the army ability, or the detachment ability rather. Each time a Heretic Astartes demon vehicle from your army makes a Dark Pact, it can invoke its contract. If it does, subtract 1 from the resulting leadership test when making the Dark Pact until the end of the phase. Each time model in that unit will make a ranged attack, add 1 to the wind roll, and add 2 to the attack characteristic of melee weapons equipped by models in that unit. So there are some pretty decent chassis that this just takes to the stratosphere, mate. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, this is obviously a good rule, right? Like the actual rule itself is solid. I think the problem that I've got with it is that the data sheets don't really back it up. And that's going to come down to points, man. Like, Forge Fiends right now are 200 points. They're printed in the book at 165. If they go to 165, hey, we're probably cooking. If they stay 200, we're probably not cooking, right? Like, it's not one of those things, because let's be real, the Water Skulls is cool, but it's not good. Bull Fiends are okay, but they're better in World Eaters typically. I think the rule is really good, and I'm not sure the detachments the data sheets back it up. That's kind of where I'm at. Yep. However, I'll say with that in mind, I think there's probably a very cool army you can build with this. And if you think of something like teams, like, even like small, like, 5-man teams, sort of local team tournaments, I think there's a pretty good argument to put this up, take table choice, get something light, and absolutely blow people up. So while I don't think it's the best attachment, I actually think it's situationally very, very good.
Me too. I think this hits one of the hardest skews for this book, and that is saying something, because this book is a book of like either really good all-comers or some really, really extreme skews. But this, of course, is your vehicle detachment. I think this is the vehicle detachment well over and above the Fellhammer we talked to previously, which both Matt and I agreed feels more like the Terminator detachment than anything else. But the first of the enhancements here is invigorated mecha tendrils. Wolfsmith model only, add 4 to the bearer's move characteristic. And it's just cool that I feel like that means that the guy's moving around like Dr. Octopus from Spider-Man. Like he's going to sit up on his tendrils and just like march along. At least that's what's in my head.
Yeah, man. Well, I can't imagine a world where I want my Tech Marine running into the middle of the board.
Yeah, 10-inch moving Tech Marine.
it's kind of, hey, is it cool? Sure. Do I really want my Tech Marine to go and die? Not really. I think this is interesting, but at the same time, I feel like you only want this with some of the other enhancements. So you want the guy moving fast with the next one I'm going to talk about, with the extra auras, right?
Yeah, correct.
That's kind of my problem with it. I kind of feel like I would want the move fast on a guy who gives an aura that I care about.
So this will run you 15 points. Forged Blessing is 20. Tempting Addendum is 25, and Soul Harvester is 15. But do they get loan up within range of the vehicles?
I believe they do. Yeah,
so that would be the only way I'd want to do this, is to guarantee shoving advance a demon engine or whatever up to an objective that they can't reach, and then the loan up guy now goes and makes the objective, and he's loan up on the objective, and he's a pain in the ass. So that would be the only way I'd see this as being viable. Apart from that, I'd leave it at home. What's the next one?
Tempting Addendum. So this is probably what I think is the build around. This is a Heretic Astartes model. Each time a Heretic Astartes demon vehicle from your army invokes its contract while within 3 of the bearer. So the invoking of a contract is the extra -1 you take on the Dark Pact test for the +1 to wound or the +2 attacks. You get +1 to the number of mortals you take. So if you fail, you take more damage, but you get to re-roll the hit roll.
Oof.
Oof indeed. This is very, very good.
And of course, you've Dark Pacted for sustained or lethals, both of which are fantastic.
Yep.
Wild. And the fact that this can be shooting or fighting as well, so you can use this defensively, offensively, as you please. I can't imagine a situation where your opponent's going to be just like letting you keep, Wolfsmiths within 3 after in fight phases, unless they're pushing on you. But yeah, this is sick. This is really good. I mean, the first idea I had in my mind was like the claws of 2 defilers just being within 3 inches each of this little guy, and then having a huge wingspan down firing lanes, because defilers have a multitude of guns that all enjoy the +1 to wound, and then +2 attacks on a defiler chassis is actually kind of sick, except then you have to run defilers, which are one of the most awkward, janky, and stupid models ever seen on any table ever. But hey, if you love them, this might be for you.
Yeah. Do you know how you know defilers are not it? It's when you look at the photo of the Soul Forge Warp Pack and you realize they've put a photo of a Soul Grinder in the Chaos Space Marine Codex.
They have.
That's how you know defilers are not it. But this is a very good enhancement, man.
Yeah, it's extremely good. You are taking this. If you are taking this detachment, you are taking this. I just love that the artist didn't have the stomach to draw the defiler, and he's like, I'm doing the Soul Grinder instead. All right, Forge's Blessing. Heretic Astartes model only. In your command phase, select one friendly Heretic Astartes vehicle unit within 12 of the bearer. Until start of next command phase, that unit has a Feel No Pain 6+. This is also very good.
Is it?
I think so. The range is beautiful. The range 12. So you select it in your command phase, then you send the Mauler Fiend in. It feels really nice. The terms and conditions are good, because 6-up isn't a game changer, but the terms and conditions are very good, because you just select it, it gets the ability, and then it can move off and do it as it pleases. And the range of 12 is very nice.
Admittedly, this is also a Feel No Pain against the Dark Pact damage as well. So
Correct.
that's nice.
Correct.
How many points was this one?
I'll let you know in 1 second. I believe this is the 20-pointer. So this is Forge's Blessing. 20 points, yeah.
Yeah, you probably do. You're right. You probably take it.
You probably do. All right, what's the last one?
It's Soul Harvester. So this is a Heretic Astartes model. While the bearer is on the battlefield, each time an enemy unit within 12 inches of the bearer is destroyed on a 5+, you gain 1 CP. No, it's probably not good. See, the place where this is kind of good is on like a Demon Prince or something like that. That's actually going to stick around. But Demon Princes, spoiler alert, are still not good. Yeah, it's not great.
I'm not paying points for a conditional 5+ to get a CP. I mean, if anything on the table died and on a 5+, I get to make 1 roll per. Let's say it's just 1 roll per player turn. Yeah, on a 5+. If anything on the table died, sure. When it has to be within 12 and then it's on a 5+, man, I'd expect this to be a 4 or a 3+.
Yeah.
To having the 12-inch rider, it has to die within 12 inches. I don't like that at all.
Obviously, the logic, right, is you can trigger it 3 or 4 times in 1 turn and get 3 or 4 different rolls, right? But yeah, I still don't think it's very good.
All right, the first of the stratagems, Desperate Pledge, 1 CP. It's a battle tactic. In your shooting or the fight phase, 1 Heretic Astartes Demon vehicle unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot or fight. To the end of the phase, if your unit invokes its contract, each time it makes an attack, improve the arm penetration characteristic of that attack by 1. Now, I think that the Venom Crawler data sheet is trash. But I do think that the Venom Crawler chassis takes every freaking buff in this book like a god. Because the thing that it needs is AP. Also, it needs +1 to wound. Also, it needs all these things. How do you feel about this strat, brother?
Yeah, so this is really good, right? It stacks with everything the army's doing really well. You're right, like you said, you can get reroll hits. You can get
+1 to wound or +2 attacks.
+1 to wound.
Yep.
And obviously sustained or lethal, right? Like this obviously makes those attachments a whole lot better. Now, you only get to do it once. Do you want to do that on a shitty Venom Crawler? Maybe, maybe not. But do you want to do it when your army has 3 Venom Crawlers and you're just poking out with it and shooting something an objective? You probably do. Yep. So I think it's good. I think it's a good thing for this army to have.
Me too. I do also think it makes some of the fringe choices maybe a little more palatable. Like if for some reason GW ever brought points back into the game, realizing that the ectoplasma cannons on the Forge Fiend are obnoxious, and then let's have the Reaper cannons back on a smaller price point. The +1 AP on them is very good.
Yeah, for sure, man. Absolutely.
What's the next one?
All right. So the next one, I don't know if this is Glut or Galoot of Souls. It's
Galoot.
One of the arse of souls. I don't know.
Galoot, you glute your butt muscle, right? So it's the butt of souls or the arse of souls.
Something like that. I don't know, man. I don't write these rules. There are some words in this codex, and they mean things that I don't understand. This is in the fight phase. 1 Heretic Astartes Demon vehicle from your army, excluding Titanic, that has not been selected to fight this phase. Until the end of the phase, if a unit invokes its contract, each time it makes an attack that destroys an enemy model, roll a dice. On a 5+, you regain 1 lost wound. This is really just for Morphines, I think.
Yeah.
Where it's really useful.
Or if you're a crazy lad and did end up taking the Defiler and somehow someone lets you use it to charge a unit, hilariously.
Hellbrute, I guess, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, Hellbrute with Double Scourge is kind of hilarious in this detachment, even though it is just slow as all hell. Because it said non-Titanic units, there's no regenning on the old Lord of Skullsy there, which I don't think would have been busted. But because the Lord of Skulls is already such an either it works on this terrain format or it has no chance in hell of working in this terrain format, that I don't think it needed that in there, but it is what it is.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, next one is Demonic Possession. This is an epic D, doesn't matter, 1 CP in your command phase. This is spicy. 1 Heretic Astartes vehicle unit from your army, excluding demon units. Until the end of the battle, your unit has the demon keyword. So you can take a vehicle that usually would have nothing to do with this detachment, because it's not a Heretic Astartes demon vehicle, and make it a demon. Your land raiders, your predators, all those things. What's the best use for this strat, do you think? Like turn 1, what have you got in your army that's going to take this like a house on fire?
Yeah, like a Land Raider is probably the first thing that comes to mind, right? Getting +1 to wound las cannons is pretty nice. They become super reliable. They get rerolls to hit. That's pretty nice. I guess the Vindicator actually rerolls to hit, and the Vindicator is pretty good too.
Vindy was the first one that came to my mind, just for the rerolls to hit from the 3-inch tempting addendum.
Yeah, like again, you could also do a Predator, like matchup dependent. I guess they're cheap, but it feels like you kind of want to be smashing this on higher value targets. So maybe it's just a Vindicator.
Yeah, that's fair. What's the next one?
We have got Unstoppable Rampage. Hey, they're words I can pronounce.
It's a good
your
one.
movement phase or your charge phase. One Heretic Astartes vehicle unit from your army that has not been selected to move or charge this phase until the end of the phase. Each time you make a normal move, advance, or charge move, you can move horizontally through terrain features as if they were not there.
It is Knights of Shade light because you can't move through any models. It's just through the terrain features. But this is still a huge activator for your aggressive elements. And without this, it is just a worse Ironstorm, I believe. With this, it becomes a well-rounded list all of a sudden.
Yeah, this is really good. It's obviously worse than Knights of Shade. Moving through models is really important because your opponent can still just screen you now. But man, it lets you staunch a Morphine, or probably more importantly, a Defiler up behind a wall and move through it and not have to spend 3 turns moving around a building. This is really good.
Yeah, this is really good. Like, this is a bread and butter stratagem. This detachment wouldn't be worth talking about without this strat, I do believe. Next one is Predatory Pursuit as 1 CP. During your opponent's movement phase, just after an enemy unit ends a normal, advance, or fallback move. 1 Heretic Astartes vehicle unit from your army that is within 9 of that enemy unit and not within engagement range of anything else. Your unit can make a normal move up to 6, but must end that move as close as possible to that enemy unit. This is the third reactive move in this codex. They have just let that thing loose in the Chaos Space Marine decks. This one is pretty good though. This one is quite nice to have on vehicles.
Yeah, this is always slightly worse than the other ones because this one makes you go towards them, and you can't go in engagement range. I don't believe. No, it's a normal move.
And must end as close as possible. I wish it said just must move closer, like a pile or consolidate. But yeah, must move as close as possible is a bit yikes, but you can definitely use it to keep the pressure up. You can definitely use it to steal objectives or body block or all sorts of things. There are a lot of big bases you're wielding in this detachment that would like a little bit of, fixing.
Yeah, any way to get a bit of extra move on a Defiler is pretty nice, honestly.
Yeah, agreed. All right, last one, my man.
Last strat for the entire book is Feeding Frenzies. This is your opponent's movement phase when an enemy unit, excluding monsters or vehicles, are selected to fall back. 1 Heretic Astartes demon vehicle from your army that is within engagement range of that unit. Until the end of the phase, each time an enemy unit, excluding monsters or vehicles, that is within engagement range of your unit falls back, all models in that unit must take a Desperate Escape test. When doing so, if that unit is battle shocked, subtract 1 from each of the tests. So this is really good. Bully Boys have something very similar.
Yep, similar.
And it's very, very powerful. Let me just double check this. Until the end of the phase, each time an enemy unit... so this actually works on multiple units, which is really nice. You can go tag your Morphine into a couple of different things. It doesn't work on monsters and vehicles, so I guess it's less good there. But you just force them to take Desperate Escape tests. It's obviously better if it works on monsters and vehicles. That's where you get the most value out of this sort of strat. But hey, it's something I think this will get used pretty often.
Me too. I do think all the power resides in the first one, pretty much. Is the 1 CP extra AP is just kind of the windmill and Unstoppable Rampage are the two that you kind of windmill slamming down, planning to use every turn, going through walls, getting the extra AP is extremely good. It kind of gets a little worse from there. I mean, Demonic Possession is just something to have in the book, so you can just take things that aren't, these 3 exact data sheets, one of which is horrifically overcosted as the Forge Fiend. Although, no rips, small violins, everybody, because I am unhappy to see that thing go. Absolutely busted. And you still might take one in this army. In fact, I think you probably do still take one.
I think you probably take 2, honestly.
Yeah,
You probably take 2.
You probably take 2 because they are ridiculously crazy world enders with +1 to wound and rerolls to hit and Dark Pact and extra AP. And it goes on. It goes on and on and on. Unstoppable Rampage, yay, Mauler Fiends do what they should have always done. And they're literally built to climb walls in sieges, and they can't go through like a 1 millimeter wall on the battlefield. So thank freaking God they can kind of do some of that stuff again. Infinite, like I will say, as good as Unstoppable Rampage is, it has made me realize just how busted Knights of Shade is for Chaos Knights. Because for 1 CP, you get it on 2 carnivores that go through units as well as walls, whereas this is 1 CP for 1 unit to just go through walls. So man, Knights of Shade is ridiculous.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think people who don't play Chaos Knights or play against them occasionally maybe don't quite realize how good that strat is. It's very, very strong.
It's got to be in the top 5 1 CP strats in the game now, I think.
I reckon, yeah.
All right, how do you feel about the Soul Forged War Pack? Obviously, it is a skew list that's going to be punching itself possibly quite a lot, especially if everything's an attempting addendum and you're failing all your dark packs, because you're not getting any rerolls here. There's no ways to get any rerolls. You're just yeeting that 6 and 7 leadership across the board. I think.
Mostly 6s and 7s. I think.
Yep. So 1/3 of the time you're going to punch yourself, possibly for 4 mortals if you're within the enhancement range. But how do you feel about the whole thing, mate?
Yeah, man, I think it's good. I think it's like I said before, it's one of those things where it's going to have some good matchups and some bad matchups, and the reality is it's not going to be as good as some of the other detachments in this book are. That being said, it still makes a pretty hectic gun line. There's a lot of shooting. If you pack 3 Mauler Fiends, a couple of Forge Fiends, and then a few Predators that you're turning into demons, as well as the appropriate character support. Throw in a few little combat units there to skirmish with stuff.
Yeah,
it's an army. It's one of the armies of all time.
Well, that army you just described is actually pretty strong. It does hate on units pretty hellaciously. I'm going to quickly jump down. The first of the data sheets we'll look at is Vashtor, the Archophane, who's getting a lot of attention at the moment. He's seen a pretty decent glow up, especially in his damage output, which was freaking atrocious for the points. He's now move 12, toughness 10, 2+, 4+, 14 wounds, 3 OC is nice. He's got an anti-vehicle 4+ flamer, which is cute at strength 5 -2 1 damage. And then in combat, he's pretty respectable. 6 attacks with anti-vehicle 4+ and dev wounds, so he will smash vehicles pretty well. Hits on 2s, strength 14 -2 3 damage, so that can be 18 dev wounds, which is kind of cute. And then his sweep is anti-vehicle 4+ as well. 14 attacks at strength 8, no AP, 1 damage, which kind of sucks pretty bad. But tell us about his abilities, mate.
Yeah, so we've got Unholy Mechanisms here. This is a friendly demon vehicle within 6 of this can add 1 to the strength characteristic of weapons.
Yep.
I think this is okay. A lot of these units have really high strength already, like a Mauler Fiend is strength 16 or something stupid like that. Where this is pretty interesting is when you make like a Predator Destructor a demon and then the autocannons go to strength 10. Like strength 10 is quite a good breakpoint.
Strength 10 +1 to wound, man. Oof.
Yeah, 100%. Like they actually kind of pop off. So something like that is pretty good. There's probably a better place to use it that I'm not thinking of right now, but that's kind of like the first place my mind goes. That seems pretty
Venom Crawler.
I don't even know what strength Venom Crawlers are.
6. So they got a strength 7 +1 to wound with 12 shots. It's actually kind of cute.
Yeah, it's not bad. But again, strength 7 is not really a break point for anything other than T7, right? So I guess they wound Mega Knobs on 2s. I guess that's something. And then we've got Reorder Reality. Each time an enemy unit with an 18 of this model targets this model until end of the phase, that enemy unit's ranged weapons have the hazardous ability. This is kind of cute. I don't hate it. Like it's, I guess if the way you're going to kill Vashtor is by chipping him down, this is a way to do it.
Yeah, you're make people pay the piper, or people or units that just have a ridiculous amount of guns per model. Like aggressors have 2 guns each, so you can make one of them. Yeah, crisis suits. Yeah, there's a couple of guns out there, like the pioneers. They've got a bunch of different guns per model. Like you can kind of make that be pretty awkward. But yeah, even then, it's not a crazy ability. It's just kind of nice. The range is good.
Infantry just won't shoot, right? Like Terminators just won't shoot you because every time they roll a 1, they kill a guy.
Yeah,
correct. I guess they have to fight you. Like it doesn't say ranged weapons. Oh, it does say ranged weapons. Sorry, it does.
Say ranged weapons.
My bad.
Yeah.
It is only ranged weapons. I guess they'll just charge you, right?
Yeah, they will just charge you. The +1 strength is kind of the reason to take him. How many points is he listed at in this book? Because of course we will go off the points in this book just for now. Even though everyone, please take them with a grain of salt. He's 230. No, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, Sharp be doing that.
Shan't be doing that, Vashtor, at 230. 210, 200, 100% I could consider him. But you could just take a Forge Fiend with change, and you're not really missing that much. You're missing +1 strength. So what is a data sheet ability that what is a data sheet that maybe we've talked about a detachment making good in
Yeah,
this.
why don't we talk about the Venom Crawler, man? Because I think the Venom Crawler
Let's
is
do
pretty
it.
interesting, and you've
Dude,
mentioned it twice
I think
here.
I think it is the one thing where it's mid across the board. It's mid durability, it's mid damage output, it's mid everything. So therefore, it's the perfect platform to make good everything. But can you? Is the question. Tell us the
So
story.
it's printed at 140 points, and I believe it's a little bit cheaper currently. Again, I'll be honest, I don't own one of these models. I think I've played against one time ever. That's kind of the extent to which my Venom Crawler experience, currently exists. I'm having a look in my CSN list right now.
It's 110, dude. Right now, it's 1 freaking 10. That is juicy.
At 110, we're kind of talking, right?
Yeah.
At 140, I don't know. I think we're probably leaving them on the table. But it's
take a Predator. Yeah, at 140, you just take a Predator instead.
So it's got 2 excruciator cannons. These are 6 shots, 36-inch range, 6.12 guns, hitting on 3s. Its melee is the same, 6 attacks of 6.12. At the end of any of the fight phase, if one or more attacks made by this model destroyed one or more enemy units until the end of the battle, add 1 to the attack's characteristics of this model's weapons. So it's kind of okay in combat.
It'll go with 8 attacks in combat, with lethal sustained, which is pretty nice. And then you can make the excruciator cannon +1 to wound and +1 AP, which I think is everything it freaking needs to even scratch the paint on a Rhino. Because of course in cover you'll still have a 4 up against the AP2 and it'll be wounding on 4s. But 12 shots for clearing objectives, I think 12 shots at 6.22 +1 to wound is like wounding anything on an objective. Anything that people use to hold objectives, it'll be wounding them on 2s with its, making its cashing in its contract. And I actually don't think it's bad. I think it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, at 110, man, there's a pretty good argument just to have 3 of these, and it's just it's good DACA. They're hard to kill, right? It's T9, 9 wounds with a 5+ invul. It's hard to kill their OC3. They move 12. This thing is not terrible by any stretch.
Yeah, I agree. At 110, 100% agree. But yeah, like we said, if it is going to be around 140, you just take a Predator. Predator's just better. Sure. Spend the CP, and the Predator is infinitely better. I was going to highlight the Obliterators, but with them going to only 2-mans, it does kind of suck the wind out of there a little bit. You can only take 6 in an army, and that's not enough to build an archetype around. And I'm not even sure if they're good as 2-mans, because like if you are just shooting, the likelihood is you're trying to kill something that either has cover or has an invuln, and then their AP is all wrong for all of those things.
They're also printed at 180 for 2 models, which I think is incredibly pricey.
Incredibly priced, like just ridiculous. I'll quickly have a look at what they are now, but I think they're still 180 now, because I think they copped anything that has indirect is 180 points or more, which is what they came out in the last data slate. And yes, they are 180.
Not a Hydra, mate. Hydras are cheap.
Hydra,
which is the quad autocannon guard thing.
Oh, the Wyvern.
The Wyvern. So the Hydra is the anti-tank one.
Anti-tank, anti-air one. Yeah. You're bad. You're bad.
My bad.
Havocs are starting to look good in a multitude of different detachments. Toughness 5 being the kicker there that brings them OTT. Their stabilizing talons, I think, are still the same. Each time model in this unit makes an attack with a ranged weapon, you can alt any or all modifiers to the hit roll and modifiers to the risk skill, which is actually relatively nice. Immune to smoke, immune to a bunch of different stuff. None of the guns really changed. I just think that they are looking a lot better for the points now than they ever have, especially getting a bunch of rerolls, disembarking from a Rhino in the Raiders detachment, or getting the -1 to wound and potential 5 up feeling no pain in the Fellhammer.
Yeah, my sneaky Havoc tech is 4 chain cannons in the Renegade Raiders.
Sneaky. Sneaky.
Wait. You pop out of a Rhino. You get your reroll hits and wounds. You get your sustained hits. You use a Chaos Terminator Sorcerer to give them +1 AP. So they're AP2. Shooting stuff and an objective, very good. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, and I suppose if you're going to do that in the Fellhammer, you would be taking a Chaos Sorcerer to give them the +1 AP and ignores cover, which is also an option there.
It's effectively the same.
Effectively the same,
cover, right?
Yeah.
Obviously you don't get reroll hits and wounds, but you get a multitude of other options in that detachment. So I don't hate that at all.
I do not hate that at all. We should talk about some cultists. Actually, are the Felgors damned? They are. Okay, Felgor Beastmen. Turn 1 reserves on a unit of 10 idiots.
Yeah, if they had Deep Strike, it'd be pretty interesting, right?
It would be really interesting if they had Deep Strike. So their detachment ability is the Data slate ability. If this unit starts the game with strategic reserves, it can be set up on in the reinforcement step of your first, second, or third movement phase, regardless of any mission rules. If this unit is in strategic reserve for the purposes of setting this unit up on the battlefield, treat the current battle round numbers being 1 higher. Where I actually think you might want to take 10 of these guys, there's a couple of different deployments, a couple of different objective mats where you can walk on from table edges onto mid-board objectives. And I actually think 1 unit of 10, just turn 1, just walking onto an objective, usually on the more awkward side of the board to shoot, is actually kind of cute. Outside that, they are so god-awful useless.
Would you like to know what I think about this unit, Adam?
Sure.
I think this is a genuine turn 1 rapid ingress option.
True. Actually, true. I didn't even consider that, because you can do that.
You can. Yeah,
That's
it's
wild.
a very interesting turn 1 rapid ingress to go get your opponent's objective before turn 2.
That's wild, mate. I like it. Yeah, I don't hate that. It also is cute to note that the Trader Guardsman squad can have 3 special weapons. No duplicates allowed, though. So, Babao for the triple plasma, triple melter. You can have one of a grenade launcher, flame melter gun, sniper rifle. Who cares? And whilst they're within the range of an objective marker, you count as being in cover. So, yeah, not too great there. I really, really wanted Possessed to be good, not broken, this detachment. And I think they are not good. Mind you, they are very fast. Movement 9, 3 wounds, toughness 6. They take the -1 to wound in the Fellhammer very well.
Yeah, they do actually. That's a very good point. They're very fast. They do take the -1 to wound very well. They actually like the Feel No Pain too. They are 3 wound T6 guys.
5+,
Obviously,
5+,
Master Possession in there already. They got a 6+ regardless. So like 5+ doesn't do a whole lot for them. But man, I don't hate that unit at all. I think it's pretty interesting.
I do as well. Any other data sheets you think people really need to know about?
Look, I think we've kind of touched on most of the main ones. I guarantee there's stuff that's been missed. You know, we've spoken about a lot of the, the big winners. A little bit about the big losers, I guess. We've mentioned a few of them. But like most of the data sheets that are solid that we haven't talked about haven't really changed. Things like just normal cultists, they're still the same. There's still a sticky objective.
Correct.
OC1 unit, they can go in rhinos, unlike Thousand Suns and Death Guard cultists that can't go in rhinos. Like these ones can. Most of the units we haven't talked about haven't really changed too much.
Hold up. You're telling me the Cultist Firebrand isn't just a banger? What's going on, mate?
I'll be honest, I don't even know what this is.
Okay, it's a new character model that they've essentially just invented. It has a Balefire Pike, which actually isn't a crap weapon. I wish you could take a bunch of them. It's Ignored Cover Torrent, D6 +3 shots at range 12 at 511. So it is a +3 shot heavy flamer, which is actually kind of cute if you had more of them. It's toughness 4 for some reason with a 4-up save and 4 wounds, which is like probably more than it should. It does absolutely nothing in combat. But whilst this model is in a unit, you can reroll leadership tests, mate. Watch out. And then in your shooting phase, after this model is shot, select one enemy infantry unit that was hit by one or more of those attacks and must take a battle shock test. This thing is a pile of crap.
You don't know how many points they're going to charge you for the pleasure of having an 11th cultist in your unit?
I hope it's 11.
60 points, my man.
Jesus.
More than 10 cultists to add an 11th cultist to your army.
But what if you just really wanted 11 in your unit so you could put less stuff in your rhino?
Hey. This does let you infiltrate 63 cultists in the Alpha Legion detachment.
Oh, watch out. My brain is just...
Hot Aussie tech coming straight to WTC, 63 cultists.
Yeah. Broken.
It's
happening. The world is broken. Anyway, that is going to do us for the review of this codex. It is our time to rank and rate it. I think last week we told you guys that we were pretty much ecstatic with the first half of this codex. But man, out of 10, how happy are you, and how happy do you think our Space Marine players will be with this codex?
I'm pretty stoked, man. Like I think the book is worse than Orcs. I think Orcs is a stronger codex. I think this is still really, really good. I think this is a solid 7 out of 10 in terms of power level, and in terms of my excitement to play it, I'm right bang on 9. I'm very excited to play the book. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
I think it's a 10 out of 10 for me. I think as far as build diversity, as far as making a codex that's going to see a multitude of different builds and excite the player base and invigorate people, I think it will keep them going for years. In addition, I think it's extremely good. Like you said, I do think the top tier of orcs, without any nerfs, without any, drastic points changes that we've known of, is a little bit above this, but the best orc builds are a little bit better than the best CSM builds. But man, it is not by much. And some of the detachments in this book can just, with player skill, can just do everything. I think this is a really good player skill expression army book. The Renegade Raiders thing is just absolutely cracked in the hands of like a competent general. There's just nothing you can't do. It actually legitimately feels like an Eldar detachment, is what people are saying, and I do agree with that. As far as what tier you think this book resides in our conventional, D tier up through S tier?
Yeah, I think this is just as good as Crons. So I think Orcs are a little bit ahead. This is just as good as Necrons. So right below, I think if you're going to be critical and Orcs are alone in S tier, I think this is right bang on like the top of A. This is very, very good.
Yeah. If it's not in S tier, it's the only A plus as far as I'm concerned. And then the top of A would be Necrons, because I do think it is better than Necrons personally.
You think it's better than Necrons? That's interesting.
I do think it's... Yeah.
I feel like Canoptech is just still so good that it's like polarizing. And like, I don't know, I think it's also... But then again, I don't know if it's better than Marines, though, but I feel like it's as good as Necrons. It's really interesting because I think Necrons are better than Marines are, but I don't know if this is better than Marines. I'm actually kind of torn here.
Fair. Well, dude, that sounds like we've got a lot to talk about over on part 2, because we'll actually unpack that question and deep dive and theorycraft how we think those matchups are going to go. Like, what does Canoptic into, a couple of the different detachment in this book look like? And then, what does it look like into Marines? Like, because I do think... you hit the nail on the head. I think Blood Angels it might be a little bit of a hard matchup for some of the detachments in here. But then again, there are some that will just kind of give them a hard time also. So there's going to be a lot to discuss. Hopefully you guys will join us over there at Patreon at Art of War Down Under. My man, Matt Morosoli, thank you so much again for coming on, dude. You're an absolute lad. I don't know if you care enough to plug your wares once again, but if you do, go for it.
theartofwar40k.com. Coaching, get better at 40k, listen to me talk more, all that sort of stuff.
Such enthusiasm.
There. I plugged it in part 1. My plug in part 1 was probably better than this one. I'm probably going to get Nick being mad at me for doing an unenthusiastic plug. But you know what? I've just worked a full day and I'm recording a podcast. I'm allowed to be a little bit unenthusiastic. But you know what? My enthusiasm is about to be through the roof as we talk about some CSM lists. I've got ideas. I've got jank, and I'm ready to lay it all on you guys. Dude, I'm very keen.
Can't freaking wait. I want to write Soulforge Warpack list, I want to write Renegade Raiders list, and I want to write a Fellhammer list. Those are the 3 that I want to do, and then we'll see what's on your agenda over on the other side. But hopefully you guys will join us there, and if not, take care. Thank you so much for your amazing support. We'll see you soon.
Thank you for listening to Art of War Down Under, a content review podcast for Warhammer 40k. Hosted by Adam Camilleri. Produced by Seamus Ronan. Enjoyed the show? Want your lists reviewed and the content you heard put into practice? Sign up to our Patreon and connect with us online or on Facebook. Just search for Art of War Down Under. Signing out from tomorrow.